Hello and welcome back to Shelf Center. This is Bryce. Thank you so much for stopping by. I have been slacking on my reviews for some time now. I owe a ton to a ton of authors, so I apologize for that. But anyway, here we are. All right, then we've got A Drowned Kingdom by P.L. Stewart. I have the sequel already, and I definitely intend to read this. So Drowned Kingdom I actually got on audio book, and so that's why I don't have a copy of that, but I may have to buy one. Because again, I love supporting independent authors, especially of books that I like and am highly recommending to other people. But P.L. Stewart did a good job of taking a character who is in its. Again, I assume that he's meant to be maddening, annoying, unlikable, all those things. It gives a lot of space for a character arc. His name's Lord Othran, and he's definitely a lord, and he thinks very much of himself, a bit, racist, those kinds of things, and just like this. When an author can take a character like that and still have me entertained and interested in the next thing that's going on, I am very impressed, first of all. But again, to just give them that arc that kind of starts to redeem them from this place. And again, you can kind of understand where they're coming from, that maybe they just don't have the knowledge, don't have the education in, being a decent person. They haven't had to be, right? They haven't been pushed in that direction. But it's really cool. So anyway, I've got to jump into the actual blurb for this. Once second prince of the mightiest kingdom in the known world, Othran now leads the last survivors of his exiled people into an uncertain future far across the shimmering sea from their ancestral home, now lost beneath the waves. With his single god binding his knights to chivalric oaths, intent on wiping out idolatry and pagan worship, they will have to carve out a new kingdom on this mysterious continent. A continent that has for centuries been ravaged by warlords competing for supremacy and mages channeling the mystic powers of the elements, and unite the continent under godly rule. So it's cool. I mean, first of all, if that doesn't draw you in, I don't know what will. So it's really cool. Like I said, the protagonist, if you can call him that, kind of like anti-protagonist, but really good. Has to just deal with some stuff. Has to deal with his brother's antics and whatnot, and again, being the second prince, right? Definite jealousy, spare even, issues that we all just feel so bad about. The poor thing, living in the lap of luxury and only being the second. But I really think that's a bold choice to have as your protagonist, and again, to have it work. Some of the things, if I've got some issues that I had with it. So I'm a reader that prefers more show than tell, and this one had more tell than I am typically comfortable with, but at the same time, it still worked. And the thing is, if you can get someone like me who doesn't like to be told, I did not like George R. R. Martin's Fire and Blood. I have a review on, and just, just dunking on it, because I just did not enjoy being told that. I thought it was so boring, and being told in the way that Fire and Blood was told, which is just you're being told, you're not actually in the minds and stuff of the characters. But this one, I mean, you still get in the minds of the characters, right? So I'm not saying it's fully tell or anything like that. I'm just saying there's a larger amount of telling what's going on, as opposed to being in the characters' heads, like being told in a third person sense. It's more of a omniscient kind of perspective, being told what's going on, what the next thing's happening. But again, to get me who again, could not stand it in Fire and Blood, and I really was still compelled throughout this narrative. I think it's almost like, okay, maybe I do. Maybe I have to give this this kind of storytelling a chance, and a better chance than I have in the past. Because again, this one, I really enjoyed this story. The other thing, there's a point, and it's a bit of a spoiler, but anyway, I'll put a note of when I'm done talking spoilers just down below here. One of the things is we didn't really get to see. We got so it's Atlantis, right? And so we didn't really get to see the actual like really get into like the destruction of it. It kind of felt like characters were away and came back and then it was destroyed, and I like kind of wanted to see that like happen from some perspectives in there. And maybe again there's sequels coming, there's plenty more that we'll get some flashbacks or something, and maybe that's what's planned or whatever. But I definitely, again, this is more like I wanted more, how dare you not give me more. Anyway, so that's a good problem to have, I guess, is just that I wanted more of this. So anyway, overall, highly recommended. It's just such an epic story. I like that how that blurb kind of talked about the Othrin wanting to become a legend, because that's really what this is, and that's what I love about epic fantasy. This definitely does it. And I give this one 7 out of 10 shelves. Okay, and last but not least, and maybe the book that I've been promising the longest to the author to provide a review for. This is The Hellborn King by Christopher G. Brenning. Absolutely just a grimdark with heart kind of thing. It's definitely grimdark though, and it just will wrench at you though too, because there's some great characters in here that Brenning was able to put forth here. All right, I'll read the blurb. A kingdom at war, a royal family at war with itself. After the massacre of his people, Damien Dreadfire, isn't that a great name, leads a patchwork army of unlikely allies against the kingdom of Batanthia. The alliance teeters on the edge of a knife as old rivalries between clans threatens to tear it apart. With the help of his trusted friend Einar and a strange mystic, Damien launches a bold offensive that will decide the future of the free lands. Short on time and even shorter on men, the fate of a once vibrant culture and its people rests on the outcome of the next battle. So, man, lots going on there. There's lots of like good like war strategy in this, but I think, you know, the biggest thing is the characters, but it still has like, it's just like this great setting, this great backdrop, kind of like Northmen. Damien Dreadfire, like I said, what a great name, and what just an absolute bastard. So he's just terrible, but absolutely. I would call this like a multi-POV, dark fantasy, dark military fantasy. Lots of just broken characters. They have, inadequacies, right? And they've got just like anxieties and fears and whatnot. And we really get that from them. But again, I love a good character that will then still, despite your fears and everything, stand up and do the right thing too. So you've got those kinds of characters. And again, what is true bravery? Standing up against your own fears even. So you kind of start off right off the bat. That's why I said this is grimdark. You've got this just bloody annihilation of a whole just group of soldiers, whole force. And they got to like go investigate and see what's going on. There's, surprise attacks and whatnot, and and just some of these like prideful characters that are, oh well, we're gonna do it. They're just a bunch of Northmen that don't know anything. They're all backward and dumb and stupid, and then maybe a little brutal though. I think one of the things that I think Brenning does a really good job of is keeping kind of our antagonist a little aloof, right? And we don't really get into his head much. Damien Dreadfire, he's a little scary, right? Like, we don't know what he's thinking, but we know what he's willing to do. And you see that, and you see he's not forgiving. He's especially not of his enemies, and he's going to make them pay for any wrongs that they've done against him. And like I kind of pointed to, you've got this royal family. They will drive you nuts. They are absolutely maddening, but again, this is what drives a lot of this great plot forward, because again, they think that they're just above everything, and he just does a great job. One of I think my favorite, maybe kind of like side story or whatever, was about this involving this character called Madeline. Her name is Madeline, and I don't want to spoil too much. She kind of starts a little aloof, and then you kind of get really into her head, and then just some of her actions really are really great by the end. And again, I know I'm being super vague on that, and I think she's kind of like where I'm getting the heart of the book here. I think if I had to nitpick something out of this, you know, maybe the pacing was like a little disjointed toward the middle. It slowed down a little bit, but that's like, it wasn't that much. It wasn't that crazy. Again, I'd be kind of, like I said, I'm being a little nitpicky there. But overall, I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10 shelves. It was just really well done, and I cannot wait to read Wrathbringer. I already have it. My problem is just time. Because, you know, what was nice about Hellborn King is that it's on audio. It's hard for an independently published book to get produced on audio. It's very hard to do. It's very expensive, the whole process, and it's not always like worth than the end result, right? Or it takes so long to recoup. So anyway, I cannot recommend all of these books that I've mentioned here today enough. Highly recommended. You want some self-published books, these are just to start with, to see what self-publishing can do. If you have any kind of quibbles or anything holding you back from starting self-published books and reading them, these are a great starting spot. I think you can get a lot from these, and then I'm going to try to keep this going and get some more, because I've got more to recommend as well. So thank you so much for stopping by. Please like and subscribe. If this is something you ended up enjoying, who knows, you might have. Anyway, we'll catch you later. Bye.